the most kind of discussed moment in the novels, at least in my little circles of friends, is always that moment when Rey hears the voice,
Right.
in her head. So could you expand a little bit about that, about what you were thinking with that scene, or where that kind of came from?
Sure. It was in the script. So I adapted it for the book like everything else that was in the script. I didn't know exactly where the voice, it wasn't specified in the script where the voice came from. The only character in the story that I could think of, two characters, no, the only character in the story I could think of who would possibly say something like that or be related to a dream sequence like that would be Kylo Ren. And that's the way I wrote it. And I didn't go any further with that. I didn't say specifically, if I recall the book correctly, that Kylo Ren is doing that. But there's obviously a connection now between the two of them. Again, I didn't think of Rey as a Skywalker. I thought of her as so much more interesting to me if you introduce somebody who is not part of a lineage from the previous 6 films, who has these abilities, maybe a little different abilities. That to me was much more interesting. But it's not the way it played out. But as far as that particular sequence goes, and speaking from the standpoint of a writer, the only reason I could see for that to be included was to throw some kind of a MacGuffin in there, just something out of the blue that might intrigue viewers if they saw it on screen and subsequently read it in the book. If I'd been writing it, that scene wouldn't have been in there. Because once you put something like that in there, you have to explain what it's doing there. It has to have a purpose that is followed up on, and to me as a writer, it was just confusing. But it certainly gave rise to a lot of fun speculation on the part of the writers.
I always thought when she was, just about to strike down Kylo, when he was already on the ground, that voice that she hears that says, "Do it," was Snoke or Palpatine.
The nice thing about that was it could have been either of those, or it could have been anybody. And I just thought of when I was writing it, I just thought this is the dark side speaking to her.
Cool. Okay.
I didn't think of it as a particular person, a particular individual. I just thought that's the dark side speaking to her. That is the element of the dark side that is in her. And if she has that in her, then that makes her a much more ambivalent character morally and a much more interesting character.